Hi, this is Mike, and this is my training journal for August 12th and 13th. I didn't make one yesterday, so I'll cover what I did in the last couple of days. First, talk about I changed my approach a little bit. The entries that I'm taking are pretty much the same, but let me explain kind of how I've been trading and what I'm doing now. So, before I was taking half off, it usually less than one time's risk, and I think that that's a mistake. I think deep inside I've known that's a mistake for quite a while actually. Basically, when I was trading futures, I think I was trading too large. I mean, I'd have to trade a minimum of 2 contracts in order to trade, and I think that was, for my small account size, I think that's too much. So I was always really stressed when I was in that trade because I was risking, probably about 3 or 4%. Um, sometimes less, but anyway, whenever I was risking a lot of money, I wanted to take the risk off as soon as possible. So I'd take the money, I'd scale out of the trade as soon as I could, as soon as I entered into any profit. But I was, my 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 first scale out was never meant to make any money. It was meant to take a risk off, and I think that's a mistake because you're trading because you need to increase the odds that you're going to make money in the long run. So whenever I'm taking a little bit of money off the table, but I start off with that big initial risk, a lot of the times I can be trapped and be 100% wrong on the trade and lose that full size. Whereas if I'm totally right, um, I am making most of the money on that one contract instead of both of them. And I think in the long run that kills the whole probability and chances of me being profitable in the long run. So I decided to go all in, all out this week. Um, I think in the future I can start scaling out, but much later, after like 3 times risk or 2 times risk. But at the moment, I'm just going to go all in, all out. I think I can have better chances. I think my trader's equation will be better that way. So anyway, a person that really made me want to switch was Steve H. on Big Mike's trading forum. Um, I had this suspicion in the back of my mind for a long time, but I've been holding it back. I've been pretty much ignoring it. But anyway, it takes another trader to tell me that. Sometimes, make it clear in my mind to want to change. So I think that's all that was needed. So thanks, Steve. So anyway, this was August 12th right here, and we had this channel. It's the Japanese yen, and have this channel and had this nice rush up here. I wasn't trading at the time. I started looking at the market somewhere around here, and had this bearish channel coming down, and we had a break and a perfect retest at the bull channel line. And I saw that, and I was late. I put my stop order in, but by the time the stop order was in there, the market already went up, and that turned into a limit order, and I was never filled. Never came back, and I didn't chase it. Perhaps I should have tried to take this entry up here, which would have filled me right here. But I didn't, and I just let it go, and here's what happened. It went up again and pulled back, broke that bear channel line, waited for a second entry, entered right here, and this was torture. Chopped around in here for a long time, and went up, made a new high, and I thought, since we had this channel or this trend line break, that this could be it. So I just went ahead and moved my stop to above this bar right here. It took me out at a profit though, a little bit more than one time risk, but that's okay. Here's what I did on the euro. Basically, we had this channel coming down, had this trend line coming off this, and it matched the low side perfectly. And coming from the low of the day, I mean the opening of the day, all the way down. So I was trying to get trades on the Japanese yen at the time, so I didn't take any of these. And this is the first entry I saw. Now the market failed to reach the top of the channel, the original trend line, and it started turning around at this point. So I thought maybe I had to adjust it, turn down here and here. So by this time, I thought, we're going to look for a second entry short. Had to be a second entry. So this first entry pulled back again, tried to break out of this trend line, and went back in and failed. So I went ahead and entered right there. However, I knew that the market would, there's a good chance that it would come back to this original trend line. So I went ahead and used a pretty wide stop up here. Originally, I had it all the way up here, and I was trying to just take a nice swing down, but I knew it was late, so I knew I'd probably have to scalp out. But I used a wide stop, and here's what happened. It went up, didn't quite make it up to this trend line, and reversed, came back up again, hit that trend line, and then really reversed down. And I was my original plan was to scale into this trade if it went against me, but only if I saw a good entry, a good setup. I didn't like this setup, so it went down, and I had I was gonna try to swing this thing, but since all this choppy overlap, and as soon as the market broke below this small bull bar right here and went up, I decided just to exit. I exited right up here, a little bit better than break even, but I consider this a break even trade, and that's what I did. So anyway, let's go back. That's the 12th. Here's the 13th. It was last night. It's the Japanese yen, and basically here's what I saw. We had this nice channel starting this bull trend, and start looking at the market right here, and basically saw this entry right down here coming off this trend line, and I decided to just go ahead and enter on a stop. I was really aggressive because I've been left behind too many times. So I went ahead and threw my stop all the way up there, and it filled me. I was a little nervous about this bear trend line coming down. I thought reverse, maybe I'd have to try to exit out early. But that's not what happened. Clearly broke it, and I went ahead and exited all the way up here. The reason why I chose that target was because we failed to reach the top of this channel on this swing high right here. I thought we should come all the way up here, then we can make our way down. That's not what happened. We went ahead and turned around anyway. So I went ahead and adjusted the top of this channel, and that's how I set my target. And I set my target up here at 3 times risk at the top of the channel. However, I believe it was going to go up higher. Basically, we had this measured move, which put us up all the way up right there. In addition to that measured move, I figured we'd probably get a leg one. If you consider this, leg one, it's multiple legs, but that distance to that, about almost the same distance as that measured move target. So I decided to leave it where it was because I was afraid of it reversing at this trend line or this channel. But here's what happened. Bam! It just kept on going. And eventually it did test the top of that channel, and basically we made a spike in our channel. The spike, and it channeled up, but by the time I realized that it was a spike in channel, it was too late. I was always waiting for this market to come back and test this original trend line, but it never did. So as a result of me waiting for that test, I missed a lot of good entries. All these circles, I believe, were good entries to go long. Yeah, I just kept going. But anyway, 3 times risk, I'll take it. I can't get it all, but should have been paying attention to what it was doing right here a lot more than I was. I was waiting for a bigger pullback. And okay, euro. I made a mistake on the euro. We basically had this trading range. Big up. Big down, big up. Usually big confusion. I believe the trading range. The reason I didn't want to take this long right here, I had this wedge. I was looking here. It was because the news, a big news event was about to come out, and I didn't want to risk it. But anyway, that's a good entry. Break of the trend line, two-legged down to a test, add support, and a reverse up. That's a good entry, but I was afraid of the news. So anyway, I believe that we could be in a bull channel, a pretty broad bull channel. So when the market came back down here and started chopping around, I had these this trend line drawn off those two lows, and pulled back off it, and by this time, I believe that we should come back up to the top, or at least the top of the trading range. So I just went ahead and entered right here, and it dropped me out. Because of my strong feelings about this bull channel, potential bull channel, I was ignoring this bearish trend line. I should have waited for a break and then a retest to go long, but I was over anxious and I went ahead and entered anyway, and I took that loss. I was better off taking the short here, but that's what happened. And that's all I did for that night, only 2 trades. So we had that big news event, and then this channel, I just lost good entries there as well. But that time I started to get tired, so I just went ahead and called it a night. So that's all I've been doing for the last couple of days. I'll keep you posted. Thanks for watching.